Hello, friends, and welcome to the PrepWell podcast. I'm your host, Phil Black. And if you have an 8th, 9th, or 10th grader with big aspirations, like the Ivy League, or military service academies like West Point, ROTC, or athletic scholarships, boom, you've come to the right place. My specialty, my superpower, if you will, is preparing families for these competitive programs. I'll teach you what your child should do, when they should do it, and how you can help. So stick around and prepare to out-prepare. Hello, friends, and welcome to the PrepWell podcast. As most of you know by now, this is an advice podcast, more or less, where I try to provide advice to teens and their parents about how to approach the college admissions process. And I try my best, when appropriate, to go pretty heavy on specifics and give real, practical, actionable advice that can be put to use right away. Now, the advice isn't quite as specific or as timely as the advice that I give inside the PrepWell videos, because the podcast would be too long if I tried to cover every grade 9 through 12 in each of the 4 different plans we offer: Pathway, Ivy, Athlete, and Military. But I do my best to provide specifics. Today, I'm going the other way. Today, I'm giving the most basic, general, and universal advice to parents who are trying to help their child stay on top of academics over the summer, even just a little bit, or students who want to stay on top of their academics, even just a little bit. But they may find themselves overwhelmed due to travel or COVID or other circumstances, or they're just paralyzed by too many options. And the reason I bring this up is because I just got off an airplane with my 3 older sons after flying cross-country for medical emergency. And as we were scrambling to prepare for the trip, my kids asked me what they should pack. And for context, the place we were heading to, from past experience, is not overly conducive to studying or keeping up with academics per se. There are a lot of people around, not a lot of quiet places, so-so internet connectivity, and just generally a lot of hubbub. So in my haste, I boiled down their academic must-haves to 2 items: a book and their Khan Academy password. That's it. A book and their Khan Academy password. I call this the when all else fails plan. In other words, if your life is just not settling down and you can't get into an academic groove, or you're away from your normal surroundings for a week or more, when all else fails, do these 2 things. Read a book for 30 minutes and solve math problems for 30 minutes. That's it. I don't care what book you read. Those are specifics I promised not to bog you down with. I don't care exactly what Khan Academy module you're working on. Again, that's too much detail for today. I simply want you to move your eyes across the pages of a book, also known as reading, and manipulate some numbers to solve some math problems. And by the way, thank you, Khan Academy, for making this so easy to do. These are the 2 items that will always serve every student well, no matter their grade, their circumstances, their ambitions, their motivation, their resources. I know students who create very elaborate academic to-do lists over the summer. In fact, I help them create these lists. It's something I take a lot of pride in. I do this in my PrepWell videos and in my one-on-one mentoring. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, SAT study for 90 minutes. Tuesdays and Thursdays, listen to XYZ podcast. Every other Friday, take notes on potential college majors, and so on. And sometimes, depending on what life is throwing at you over the summer, these plans get too elaborate. And if the plan gets too elaborate, sticking to the plan suffers. And often when students don't stick to the plan, they get frustrated and end up doing nothing. It becomes an all or nothing proposition. It's very common for both adults and students. And what I'm proposing today is a simple way to prevent this from happening. If your detailed plan or life or circumstances becomes too much, even for a few days, a few weeks, I want your default setting to be not to do nothing, But instead, I want you to, 1, read, and 2, do Khan Academy. Read and Khan Academy. When you, as a parent, at the end of each summer day, are wondering whether or not your child has kept their brain active that day, ask yourself these 2 simple questions. Has my child, at a minimum, read a book for 30 minutes and done 30 minutes of Khan Academy? End of inquiry. As a student, if you want to make sure, no matter what, that you're not falling behind academically, ask yourself every night, did I read for 30 minutes? And did I do 30 minutes of Khan Academy? If the answer is yes and yes, you're both in the clear, parent and child. If the answer is no and no, then you know you're falling behind. And tomorrow will be an opportunity to get back on track. So once again, the bottom line, if you want to ensure that you are not falling behind academically this summer and you're not in a position, for whatever reason, to follow a fancy or elaborate plan, follow the simple 2-step plan. Read and do Khan. Read and do Khan. That's all I've got for you today, folks. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for the continued support. If you know a parent with a, let's call it a 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th grader that might find this helpful, please share this episode with them. You can do that by finding that small box with a tiny arrow pointing up. That's the share button. Click that button and text your friends the link to this episode. Maybe even put a little personal note from you recommending that they take a listen. If you have questions, comments, or an idea for an upcoming episode, please reach out to me by email, DM me on Instagram, PrepWell_Academy. Check out our blog, Facebook, connect with me on LinkedIn. I would love to hear from you. And until next week, goodbye, good luck, and never stop preparing. This podcast is brought to you by PrepWell Academy. PrepWell Academy is my one-of-a-kind online mentoring program that delivers to your 9th or 10th grader a short, highly relevant video from me every week, every Sunday, in fact, where I give them a heads up about what they should be thinking about to stay ahead of the game. To get these valuable lessons into your child's hands, please head over to PrepWellAcademy.com and enroll your child today.